Ooh, blue glow from the past. German Commodore. Gigantic disk drive. Knight'n Grail. Now, the point of all this is that I will play Knight'n Grail on my Commodore 64 the first time ever. The game was released in 2009, which of course is very late for a Commodore 64 game. And while my nostalgia for the C64 knows no bounds, I usually say that I can't get excited about an old game that I never liked when it was new. And so, those two things will come into conflict here. It's a Commodore 64 game which did not even exist, and therefore I never played it back in the old Commodore days. Does that mean I cannot enjoy it? Well, here we go then. Loading. Well, this is just not good. We're having another go at it here now. Ah. Press F1 for new game. These cool Vic fonts looks horrible on a big LCD. We're loading again. It's a black loading screen. No, seizure-inducing colors. That's kind of disappointing. I like the colors. Ah. Ah, so there we are. A knight with a huge sword. And we're at the castle entrance, and we're supposed to find a grail so we can turn our girlfriend back from dragon to human again. I don't know why no one think it would be awesome to have a dragon girlfriend. I don't know. We can jump. Ooh, we have modern day platformer in the air control. We can throw our demonic sword. Ooh. How do we interact with this stone? Like that. If you enter, you must seal the grail with pace and in the map trust by pressing space. Oh, it rhymes, eh? So if you press space, you see a map. Amazing. We have an iron sword and iron armor. Now, that thing is shooting at me. Oh no. I'm really wasting health here. Well, I have now played for about 15 minutes And as you can probably not read because, well, this TV is just too big for Commodore 64 graphics to work, I have water armor, which leaves me impervious to water attacks. And I have explored 9% of the game, and I have to say it plays quite a bit like a mix between Ghosts and Goblins and Montezuma's Revenge. And that's kind of really good. Because, you know, Ghosts and Goblins is frantic, while Montezuma's Revenge is all about being calculating for your next move. And this is like in between. It's good. And as for the whole thing, if it can be enjoyed even though it's so outmoded, well, I say it can, most likely because there wasn't a mix between Montezuma's Revenge and Ghosts and Goblins back in the days. That was just not something anyone ever did. These snakes, for some reason, attack with water. They shoot water poison or something at you, so I'm impervious to their blue bullets. That green thing, however, I am not impervious to. But I don't think there's anything more of use here. We can get some more coins. There's some tricky jumping here. Well, I still got some health left. As you can hear, the game switches from sound effects and music back and forth. That's really clever, you know, because the Commodore 64 had only 3 voice channels, and that's you need all 3 to make good music. So it's hard to have music and sound effects going at the same time, which is why in games like Ghosts and Goblins, when you're blowing stuff up, the music freaks out. I don't think I've been that way, actually. West Tower Gardens. What the hell? That's not water. Can you even kill it? Yes, you could. But there's another one. One of those. I don't think I can. Oh. This is not gonna work. I have to run away, run away. I really can't get to that gleaming sword. Yay, I'm in the ballroom. And I now have both water armor and a water sword, though I'm using the iron sword right now because the water sword just has a weird upward arc thing that I have no need of here in the ballroom. And I have increased my maximum energy, though I'm almost dead at this time. Still, the game has a system that when you die you start over at the start, but you get to keep all your power-ups. So it's not quite as harsh as the old games used to be, but not as nice as many new ones. And when you attack these flashing balls on pedestals, doors open somewhere. Amazing, isn't it? So now I have to backtrack and find an open door where there used to be a closed door. And I'll probably die on the way because many of the standard enemies respawn when you leave the screen, which is a bit of a pity. They didn't in Montezuma, you know. Now we're in Room of Obedience. Okay. All swords, bring them to me. You will get rewards for free. The Majestic. Okay. Okay. That looks majestic. It's a golden shrine. Well, I don't feel very rewarded. So, having reset the computer, I have now learned that the game does not save your progress on disk. So, just like in the olden days, if you want to finish this, you have to do it in one sitting. They could have saved, you know, it's on disk, but I suppose that would be too modern. Now, to wrap things up, I would have to say that it is kind of good, really. I mean, it is like a thinking man's Ghosts and Goblins. It's action, but it's careful action. You have to think before you act, like in Montezuma's Revenge. So, if we are to rate this as a game for 1982 era hardware, you know, the Commodore 64, I'm going to have to rate it as a 19 out of 20. Well, you know, it really is good for a game for a 1982 system. Doesn't look like much compared to today's systems, of course. Well, what do you expect?